Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope.
This is an NB13 production.
Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Talking all facts, keeping egos. If you got receipts, brother, bring them to the show. When it come down to it, who to go? All you LeBron James fans, I want smoke. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Everybody hates Pope. Talking all facts, keeping ego. If you got receipts, brother, bring them to the show. When it come down to it, who to go? All you LeBron James fans, I want smoke.
What up, what up, what up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Everybody Hates Pope Radio. Man, oh man, do we got a good one for you today on the night of the NBA Finals. Miami Heat versus the Lakers, man. Who y'all got, man? Y'all already know who I'm rolling with, man. Bam, bam. And Tyler Hero, you already know, but that's a topic for another day, man. Listen, man, we got a special show today, man. I have the honor and the privilege of having yet another Aliquippa stalwart, man, another Aliquippa sports legend. We got Aliquippa head coach, girls varsity head coach, Coach Bo LINDSEY in the building, man. This is going to be a great interview. This is a brother that definitely deserves everything he get, man. He's been coaching for a minute, so we're very excited to have him in the building. And if I understand, I have Coach LINDSEY on the phone right now. Hey, Coach Bo, you there, man?
Oh, what's up, brother? I'm here.
All right, bet, man. It's good to have you, man. Everybody, Coach LINDSEY. Much deserved applause, man. I'm so happy that you took the time out of your day, man, to come on the platform, man, so I could interview you, man. That's the plan, man. I don't want to debate today. I don't want to debate. Because I already know how you be coming with the debate game, man.
We're going to have to get that popping another time for sure. But yeah, we just gonna chop it up, get some good fellowship, talk about what's going on in my world, and you let me fill me in on some things you got going on with you, bro.
My man. Well, listen, man, you are one of those brothers, man. Aliquippa is flooded with so much talent, man. You're one of those brothers that's a little bit below the radar, but you're making big time moves. And when you got the call to be the head coach for the girls varsity team, I said, man, you know what? This is somebody that needs to be exalted. We need to hear your story. I want to hear from you. From the outside, whenever you look at Aliquippa, man, it's always interesting to know how people navigated through that sports climate and how they rose up and what their sports career was all about, man. So that's why I'm so interested, brother.
Okay, well, you know, I'm just like most of the kids here in Aliquippa. You see the big dogs when you're a little dog on the field on Friday nights and on the hardwood on Tuesdays and Fridays, and you see that, you want to emulate that. You know what I mean? And every opportunity you see that, you just getting engulfed in it. You know what I'm saying? And then you see those guys go on. In our day, it was Three River Stadium in football. You see them go there and win those championships, or at the Fitzgerald Center or Duquesne for basketball. You just want to be a part of that. And like for me, it started. I was playing twerk football for the Lady Quips, and my first year was in 1989. That's 30-some odd years ago. And I've been in roles ever since then till here we are right here. I was a little bit. My first year I actually played with the league quarterback. That's probably hard to believe, but quarterback back. Yeah. My first year playing twerks, I was a quarterback. I initially was a running back. My man Lay, the great Josh Lays, I like to call him from time to time. He was originally the quarterback, and I can't remember what happened, but like the week of our first game, I think he got hurt or got sick or something. He missed the whole week of practice. So our coach just kind of was like, well, he's probably our next best athlete. Let's use him as our quarterback. And I just got thrusted into the quarterback position that year, and I played it for the entire year, playing Tour Bowl that year, and that was a one and done thing for me. After that, I went back to playing fullback, tailback, and linebacker, and outside linebacker. That was really my thing. But that particular year, I had to take one for the team. It was all good. That was fun. I think I have to ask my mom for sure, but I think I had like 30 touchdowns that year, just getting the ball, running, all that stuff, and it was fun.
Bro, you had 30 touchdowns, bro?
Yeah, as a tour player. In my first year, I was killing it out there. I mean, I had a couple big touchdown years in my career. I think I know another year I had about 25 playing termites. Another year I had like 15 or so. Mighty Mice, I think I had like 10 that last year of Mighty Mice, and then I sort of became a defensive specialist after that.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna get into one of my favorite subjects in a second. That would be your son Cam. But now I'm starting to understand where Cam getting all this game from, man.
Yeah. Cam got a little honest. I had a little something to do with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. This boy has all the potential in the world to be, up there with the other greats that came through here, like Gilbert, like Lloyd, like Revis, you know what I mean? All those guys. He has the potential. He's got the physical tools, be his dad, and even being a former linebackers coach and defensive staff member with the Quips. I'm just trying to get his mental right.
Right.
Physically, I know he's going to definitely need a really big off-season banging the weights and the conditioning and all that. And sky's the limit. He got a little taste last week. He took 159 yards for the score against Quaker Valley in a big one we had, and I think he's starting to get a little bit more confident. He's starting to get an idea of what he's doing out there, and I got to give a lot of credit to his coaches. They're really working hard and really showing him the ropes, and he's buying in, he's listening. And I've been getting a lot of good reviews from his coaches on how he's been performing and practicing and stuff like that.
Man,
proud dad for sure.
Man, I seen the 59-yard tote, man, and I mean the adjustment at the line of scrimmage, because there really was nothing there. But I also noticed that extra little burst. I see.
Yeah, like once he got in there, he kind of hit a different gear. Me as dad, and been seeing him since day one, I didn't know he had that in him. He was more of a power guy from Little League, and then maybe sometimes he was crazy. But yeah, like he had a little burst. I'm like, whoa. Because like I'm thinking, as we're at the game, and as he makes that like little cut on the reverse, and I'm thinking that safety kind of had the angle on him was gonna get him right there, and it was like he just hit another level that safety didn't have. You know what? He's off to the races.
Yeah, that was a hell of a run, man. The first time, just to share a story, but with everyone, I believe that this is the first time that I met you, in fact, but the first time I seen Cam play was at an Oakdale game after I had coached my game. It was actually, he was playing against my son. And
yeah.
You remember that, bro?
I remember that.
Okay. So, you know how it is being a coach, man. You got a lot of people to talk to. So,
oh yeah.
I'm talking to people, but I'm also watching the game. And when I'm watching the game, number one is just impressing me, man. And he's not, it's no breakaway runs. It's not like he's really trashing anybody, but it's just the little tiny details, the patience, how he picking his holes, the toughness, if things go wrong, he just pops right back up. I'm like, man, a bunch of 4-yard runs, 6-yard runs, 7-yard runs is just consistent. So, make a long story short, I have a habit of doing this, man, but when I see a kid that can play, man, I always like to tell him, I just want to meet him and tell him like, yo, keep doing your thing. So I kind of stuck around after that game, and I met up with you and the whole family, and I had to tell him, man, like, yo, I'm impressed, man. And that's the first time I met you. So I've been following Cam this whole time. I thank God that you post a lot of stuff on Facebook, man. He just looks like a truly talented and humble kid, man. Just truly talented and humble.
Yeah, we trying our best to keep him on the right path, keep him focused, keep him humble. And I give him all the credit in the world because as talented as he is, he's really, he's really humble. He's really, quiet, really self-contained. Like, I think if I was as talented as he was when I was his age, I'd probably be a pretty big jerk. But he's really just into, what he's into, like his sports, his video games. Like most kids, they're just, his teammates. Like even the first game that they played at home against Ambridge, he didn't really get too many, opportunities to make some plays or whatever. He did his thing on special teams, and then he got a couple carries, but didn't really pop one. Just got a couple little 4-yard bursts. But one of his better friends on the team, freshman, also had an interception. And when we got her, he was like, "Man, did you see Brandon's interception? Did he read that well or what?" Like he's really a team guy through all that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think of all the things that he does athletically, the fact that like he really doesn't mind sharing the spotlight with other guys. That's probably what. Like he's really not a greedy guy. Like, and he does have a gene, I guess I would call it, where he just kind of senses when he can put his impact on the game when he's playing. You know what I mean? Depending on who he's playing with or where he's playing or whatever, and he knows kind of when to fall off and somebody else got it rolling. You know what I mean? So. Very aware for a kid of his age. Like a lot of kids probably will be, me, let me get the ball, let me do this. But he doesn't really mind sharing. You know what I mean? So it's good to see him be well rounded. Besides just like his, I post up this sometimes like it was a game last year in junior high. He had 5 carries. 4 of them went for touchdown. Caught one pass that went for a touchdown, and you know what I mean. And he killed it. And he's like talking about another play somebody else made, or talking about how he should have maybe had an interception because he dropped one time. Just stuff like that. Like he's always looking to try to build it up or move to the next thing, or like okay. I did this, but I still need to work on that. I need to sharpen up this. Even, watching film for Beavers this week, like his awareness of certain things that, I try to, point out things that I might see, but he's like, all right, well, Dad, look at this. When Beavers in a double slot and the back is offset, they're usually running counter or delay or draw. But if he's up even with the quarterback as a sidecar, they're throwing the ball. And we went back. And I'll be damned. Every play that the quarterback back was even, it was pass. And every time he was offset, counter, quick trap, delay. Every time. He was on it. So that's the thing. I'm just trying to sharpen that part of it. I know the physical will come. It's there to an extent. Like for a 9th grade kid, he's on par pretty good. But I know he's about to make a really big, significant jump. Wait till you see him hoop too.
Man, I mean, I be seeing this, the numbers. I mean, I'm like, oh, he's a rebounding machine. Like, I mean, I be seeing the numbers, man, and the videos that you post. I'm like, man, this boy. So shout out to Cam, man, but shout out to parents too, man. I love to show the parents some love, man, because it's not really, the kid has a talent, but it's really hard to get your kid in position, get them trained up right, and get, like as you said, get that mental on point. So, you know what I mean? Shout out to you as well, Dad, man. Keep up the great work, bro.
I appreciate that.
No doubt, man. So you started off in youth football. You're a quarterback. You scoring a whole lot of touchdowns. You got lucky enough to fill in while Josh Lay is out. But how did everything transition to high school for you? Did you continue being a running back? How did things end up going in high school?
Actually, I probably stopped really running the ball after probably when I got to midgets, and I was just really playing defense, a little help on the line there, because as a kid, nobody really wants to play on the line, but if that's going to get me in the game some more, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I got there. I did play a little bit of line, but I was really mainly just a linebacker or a defensive end or outside linebacker. That's pretty much how our DNs play Quip in that 5-2 set. But even at that, I played defense the whole way. In high school, I played a little bit of fullback my sophomore year. I started off playing on line. Then they moved me to fullback. But, then there was a rule that, numbers had to be established by a certain day. And because I was initially starting off on the line, I had a lineman number. But I did play some fullback. Every once in a while, sometimes, our heavy packages, I would get in as a step and just kind of lead block a little bit as a lead fullback. My 10th grade year, I actually did get a couple carries with a lineman number. So, but I was really more of a defensive guy as I got older. I'm really focusing in on that and just trying to be the best linebacker I could be.
Okay, so speaking of linebacker, from what I see, you one of Aliquippa's finest linebackers. Over 300 tackles in 2 years, all-conference team MVP, led the team in tackles. Tell us a little bit about how you excelled at linebacker, because as I always say, as I said with Coach Dawson when I spoke with him, because he led his team in tackles before, but
yeah,
it's always impressive to see a linebacker lead their team in tackles on such a fast and athletic football team as Aliquippa. So tell us about the mindset and what it took for you to be in position to make all these tackles.
For me, it was just a lot of film study preparation, understanding and noticing tendencies and stuff like that. And just I was kind of like a coach on the field for us. So even at times, Coach Short is still running the defense, but even in those days, after a while, he knows, me and him would just talk. He'd be like, hey, if I run this, but they come in this type of formation, what do you think we should audible to? Or, what's our checks or whatever? And if they check, do we make these adjustments or whatever? And then just that mindset of just trusting each other as a defensive unit. My senior year, we were, in the entire WPIL, we were the number 2 defense in points allowed. We were top 5 in rush defense. We had a really great elite defense, and I played with some killers, man. I played with Josh, like I already said, who, with Pitt, played briefly in the NFL. I played with Deshaun Patrick, the assistant head coach of the football team here in Quip now. He played at Kent State. He played with James Harrison. He played with Julian Edelman for the Patriots. He played with Josh Cribbs. He played with a couple other guys. I just can't think of the names right now that have had pretty good pro careers. The guy that recruited him, that was his head coach at Kent State, Dan Pease, was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl down in New Orleans. Ray Lewis's last game, he was the defensive coordinator there. He was the defensive coordinator with Belichick for a couple years in New England. So he's played with some good talent in college and played for, a coach that's been around. And I believe Coach P is the defensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans right now, if I'm not mistaken.
And this is Vashon while he's at Kent State, right? Vashon Patrick.
That's all the greatness that was around him. He used to tell me some crazy stories about James Harrison.
What did he say?
Player. Man, I remember we were both in college, and you check on your boys. You call them up, see what's going on. We talking or whatever. He was like, man, we got this dude. He plays outside linebacker. His name is James Harrison. Man, he was like, he ain't real tall, but he built like a brick house, and every day he's knocked somebody out cold. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? He's like, every day this fool done knocked somebody out cold. And this was probably after 3 days of practice. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, man, he just catches people. He times it well. He just been lighting people up. He was like, this dude is unreal. He was like, he's all football all the time. He's like, he don't go to clubs. He don't hang out. He don't do none of that partying or none of that. It's just all football. It's all weightlifting. It's all working out. And, well, we go on and we, years down the road, we see what James Harrison has become. You know what I'm saying? And he was just like, how you see the videos of him lifting all kind of crazy weights and still doing it, even though he's been retired for a couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And like Bashan said, like, man, that don't surprise me. That's who he is. Like, he was like, that dude would go work out in the weight room after playing a football game sometimes. Like, he was just that dedicated to the craft.
Yeah, and we seen him do that in Pittsburgh a lot. We seen that. So, man, he's been doing that for a minute. Wow.
Yeah, he has some. Yeah, even like I don't know if you know his like career story, but like he was cut by the Steelers a time or two, then went to the Ravens and got cut, and he had bounced around. And Pittsburgh brought him back, and he finally found his niche there. And he was just like, this dude can't do nothing else but play football. Like, he's just all football all the time. Like, that's just what he is. He was like, he's not giving up. He was like, it's going to take, a long time for people not to call him for him to stop playing. Like, so, like, when, the one time when Pittsburgh decided not to bring him back and he went to Cincinnati, you know what I'm saying? He was like, he just don't, he just doesn't have any quit in him. He's a competitor, but he's fierce. He used to tell me some wild stories about just his work ethic and stuff like that. And that's why, we see in his career and how dominant he was in the NFL and had probably the greatest defensive play maybe in Super Bowl history when he took that interception against the Cardinals.
Oh, for sure, the greatest. That's the greatest play.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. That changed the game because Arizona was building some momentum, and maybe a touchdown there. They go into the half with the lead. That would have been huge going into that second half, and he stopped that. And that was awesome.
Man, that's crazy though that you play with all these players that have all these experiences with other great players. Who else was on that team?
Another linebacker in our 5'2" was Monroe Weekly. He played at Pitt for a minute and got into some trouble there. Went to Kansas. He was big career defensive player of the league a couple times out there. He had a game. They had a big upset. It wasn't Oklahoma they played. Maybe it was Kansas State or Oklahoma State. And he had like 3 or 4 sacks in that game and was dominant. You know what I mean? Played out there for a while. Played he played at Portland State out there in Oregon after playing at Kansas for a year or two. And I mean, just an incredible athlete. He's locked up now. He got himself into some trouble, but an incredible physical specimen, man. And truthfully, the most impressive thing I think I've seen him do athletically was we're playing Blackhawk in a hoop game, out of conference game in the middle of my senior year, and we're trying to press and create some turnovers, man. And he just jumps this pass from 2 passes away, kind of like some of those steals LeBron gets, and he has that big tomahawk jam, and he took the ball from about maybe 23, 24, talking about the NBA 3-point line. And he just comes right down the middle of the lane, takes off to the dotted line, caught that thing back, and boom, right over a big dude. I cannot remember this dude's name from Blackhawk. He was like a 6'4" reserve forward. He actually played some high level D2 football as a tight end. Was a pretty good athlete in his own right. Mm-hmm. And Momo jumped this dude like he wasn't even there, man. I mean, like, the place went crazy. And, like, the crazy part is, like, that was, like, I think his first dunk in the game. And everybody's going crazy. And we're like, man, sometimes when he's into it, he does that, like, normally in practice, like, when we're just doing layup drills. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just, man, he jumped on this dude, man, so hard. I mean, like, and, like, with the breakaway rims, it even crazier, like, everybody in the crowd going crazy. And this is that year, Blackhawk, they ended up beating us in the game. They went 29-0 and lost in the state championship to Stilton High Spire out there in Harrisburg, PA, in the state championship game. But, like, that was a really big game because we ended up winning WPIL and hoops that year in 2A, and Blackhawk won 3A. But like it was, I want to say maybe within a month before the playoffs started, and Blackhawk kind of had cruised through their section. So like people was wondering, well, probably the only chance they got to losing is maybe when they play Aliquippa.
Mm-hmm.
I think we ended up 3. They had a team of 5 guys that went played Division I basketball. So
Was that the team with Foose Cheatham?
Yep, Foose Cheatham, Mitch Garrett, Mark Fernetti, Darren Tilch. They had some ball players on their squad for sure.
Yeah, that was a good team. So that's hoops and football. But I have $1 million question, man. $1 million question, man, that I ask all the Quip boys, man. Friday night football at the pit. You're about to come out of your locker room, man. How does it feel? And if you could describe the advantages, the intimidation that you guys already bring to the table. Describe that to me, man. To us. We want to hear this.
I tell you what, I would not want to be one of the rivals that we played going into playing any games at the pit. I tell you that. I mean, like, it's funny because I always used to say, like, everybody in town on a home game on a Friday night is at the game. Like, if you're a criminal and you want to rob a bank, that's probably the best time to do it. Everybody's at the game, you know what I mean? So, like, everybody's there, you know what I mean? And then you're playing against a team, like, they don't go there anymore, but it used to be the visitor locker room used to be under the bleachers.
Man.
And it was all dark, creaky, and it probably stunk so
that
bad. But
room,
even when you plan, it's like everybody in Aliquippa, even if you got like issues with somebody else in the town, you put all that aside when it comes to a high school football game Friday night. Everybody comes together and everybody's cheering and watching, and you know the crowd, they'll let you hear. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're supposed to be the star player for the opposite team, they're gonna let you know, like, hey, ain't nothing going on tonight. These boys about to come and give you something. And it's an incredible advantage because, like, regardless of what you think, people know who you are, even if you don't know who you are. You know what I mean? Like I play a game, and like I remember, this is not really about the advantage, but just a little quick side note. Like after games, you know, we would go to Eaton Park, maybe the Burger King that was open, go get a bite to eat or something like that. I remember a couple times going to the Eaton Park, and you know, we'll sit down, order our food, and it'd be time to go pay the bill, and they'd be like, hey, those gentlemen over there paid for you guys food. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
But just all in general, man, like, you know, you go through your preparations and your pregame warm-up and your walkthroughs and you're doing all that stuff. And, you know, it's still a little light outside. The lights just kind of come on. And, you know, you can feel the build-up coming. Then you go in the locker room and go through maybe the last little chop talk or whatever. And you know, you might put your music back on, get to bopping your head a little bit, focus it in. And then, you know, we talk a little bit about what we got to do. You know, you say your Lord's Prayer. You know, you and your boys dab each other up, get to going, and then that door opens. And then, like, when I was playing, we used to do the swing thing, kind of like University of Miami used to do. So then we got the smoke going in front of the door. Then you come through. By then it's dark. Those lights are at the brightest point, and it's like you look, and it's like it seems like you're in Three Rivers or Hines or whatever, and it seems like it's 75,000 people there, but it's really only about 2,500 at the most. But it just seemed like, you know, everybody was there, like in the whole world. It's like the band's playing, and you know, you see the cheerleaders and the major rats, and everybody's, you know, into and let's go Quip chant. Like my senior year, we kind of stole that tomahawk chop from our band did from like the Atlanta Braves or like Florida State, how they do their thing.
Yeah.
And you know, you just feel it, man. Like it's like a joke that just goes in your spirit, and it's like, oh, it's time to go now. You know, everybody's here to see see us play, see us do what we can. But we put all the work in for all the weight lifts and all the practices, all the sprints, that blood, sweat, and tears. You put all of that in, and then it's like, all right, now it's time to perform. You know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't feel like. I mean, I've been coaching in other places, and sometimes you get bored and go to a game at other schools and stuff like that. But this is like our pregame, and our tradition is as good as anybody's in the entire WPIL Western PA area. It's just because of all the people that come before us. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that standard. You know what I mean? We hear Mike Thomas say it all the time. The standard is the standard. Mm-hmm. And you got to uphold that. When you get to 3-4 years to put on that uniform, you got to keep it going, because you don't want to let the people, that came before you down, and surely you want to keep it going for the kids that's going to come after you. You know what I mean? Like, you just got your 3-4 years to make it happen for yourself, and we do what we do, and it's an unreal advantage, man. Like I always say, in this area, I thank God that I was a Quip and not maybe somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because it's one of a kind. Like, and the love that you get throughout the community is priceless as well. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's been times where I've been out to eat or been somewhere and somebody paid for my meal, or just acknowledge me, like, hey, you played a great game on Friday. You know what I mean? This, that, and the third. It's like, wow, like I didn't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even know that this person would know me. You know what I mean? So
y'all the show. Y'all the show. Y'all the show.
Yeah, you really don't notice it while you in it until like after the fact. Then and it's just like, wow, man, like you really are like a rock star. You know what I'm saying? For a few falls in your life. You're the biggest show in town. Some of us don't always get the opportunity to play at the next level. Thankfully, I was, but everybody don't get that chance.
Man, that's crazy. So now you got the high school experience. Oh, one thing I did want to ask though. So you're in high school. Question, like so you play center now, right? You play center on offense.
Yeah, my senior year, I had to play center. I played center on offense. I'm supposed to be playing fullback. My senior year, we only had 30 players on the roster. So, we had to do a lot of shifting and moving around. And one day, after we do spring drills and stuff like that, Coach Z pulled me into Z's office at the time in the old high school and just, talk to me like, hey, it's nothing that you did wrong, but we really need to move you on the line if we want to get to where we're trying to get to. And, our goal was, to try to win a championship. So, they talked and we talked, and, he was like, when you think about it, fullbacks don't get that many touches anyway. So you ain't nothing but a lineman that's just in the backfield. So, they worked me. Yeah, they worked me over a little bit, but, I conformed to help the team. That year we went undefeated in the regular season, and at the time that was our first undefeated regular season in 10 years.
Wow! So y'all was a resurgence. Y'all must have been going through a little bit of a. I don't know. You guys never have bad years though.
And that was my senior fall was 1999. Every year, we just had lost maybe one or two in a regular season. We just didn't have undefeated regular seasons. And even in our 3 state championship teams, none of those teams were undefeated. But each year, we would have maybe a trip up in the regular season. But even throughout that, I think like I said, that was 1988 to my senior in 99. We still have won 3 WPL championships in the meantime. So we were still winning, just just didn't have a perfect regular season. And then even then, we ended up losing the game before the championship game to the Washington Prexies, who had pretty good teams back then as well.
Wash High.
But I had to play center on offense. Senior year, I sucked it up, but we had a pretty good team. Sean ran for, I want to say 1,600 yards in 11 games or something like that. He missed a couple of games for injury, so
wow.
Our line was pretty good that year. My boy Anthony Peluso the left side tackle. He was a defensive tackle as well, but he was a D2 all-world player that went to Edinburgh. Drew Ellerby, who was coaching with the youth program, he was an offensive lineman. He had a lot of D1 interest, some D1 AA interest. So played with some pretty good dudes. John Ladon was a tight end. He's the head coach at Penn Hills right now.
Hills. Didn't he win a state?
Yeah, the same year that we won a couple years ago, 2018, they won 5A state championship on a Friday night, and then the very next Saturday morning, our boys won the 3A championship.
Right. Crazy weekend for you, the Quips.
Yeah, it was a good week. It was a good Quips.
But Bo, if you were playing almost on any other team, you probably would have been a running back or a tight end or something, right?
Yeah, most likely. Like I said, going into spring ball and stuff my senior year, I was starting fullback, and even how we do like the little yearly calendar, like we had to do a retake because in the original picture, I had what did I have? 11. I had number 11 playing fullback. And then we had to redo the picture because after we did it early, like normally we don't really do it till you start, your fall or camp or whatever before we go to camp at Cal U. But we took it real early in the spring, and I was, we had took them with our game jerseys on. I had number 11, and then we had to scrap that and redo the picture because a couple people had moved around, not just me. But yeah, so
wow,
I was sure.
So. Okay, so we were going through high school, team MVP, all conference. You land at Bethany College, is that correct?
Yep, Bethany College, right in Bethany, West Virginia. Probably about an hour and some change from here, a little bit outside of Winterton, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm. How was your college experience, bro?
It was cool. I played 2 years there. My freshman year, I actually had to play defensive end in college. We ran like a 4-3 and a 4-4 set. When I got there, it was a ton of kids playing linebacker. We had one kid that was a senior, and another kid that was a sophomore, or maybe he was a freshman. They were the two starters in the middle. And they had already had a guy who was established as the outside linebacker. He kind of ran like when you really look at it on film, out of that 4-3, whenever we were in that 4-3, that outside linebacker rolled up on the line of scrimmage and really just was physical with and matched up with the tight end a lot. So it kind of looked like on film, if you watch the play, it's really like a 5-2.
Like a 5-2, yeah.
It was some guys there, and a couple guys that were older, and coach was our coach was kind of loyal to them. So I was like kind of back on the chart, and then our starting two defensive ends both got hurt, and Cam one busted up his kneecap. He came back toward the end of the year, and the other one, I want to say he either tore some ligaments in his knee or maybe he had Achilles injury. He was out for the year. So we went from, like 5 defensive ends down to 3. And coach asked me, did I mind going to play defensive end? And I looked at it like, shoot, I might as well take it and play in the game. You know what I mean? So I moved from outside linebacker to a rush end. And it was pretty cool because, like, my role was defined, like, go in and rush the passer. I pretty much got in every third and long. And it was actually like third and more I was coming in every time. So,
and this is as a freshman.
Yeah, as a freshman. Our team that year was pretty decent. We started off 4-0. For the first time in the school's history, they've made the Division III top 25 poll. I think we got up to like 23. We had like a top 20 defense. And we finished the year 6-4. We started off 4-0 and finished the year 6-4. Played against some pretty good Division III teams. Washington, Jefferson, they're usually in the runnings for a championship every year in Division III in those days. We played them pretty tough that year. Westminster left D2 and went to D3. We had to play them. They had some pretty solid teams. Waynesburg was tough and physical. Grove City had that kid R.J. Bowers.
Oh yeah.
Major League Baseball. Then came back to college. He was 26 years old playing against that 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, and then he ended up being the NCAA's all-time rushing yards leader, regardless of level. Like he ended up at the passing with Ron Dane, who had the record previously. He had just took it from Ricky Williams. So
he ended up with the Steelers, didn't he?
Yep. He after that year, he didn't get drafted, but he did find his way on the Steelers roster and played with the Steelers. I think that he might have played 1 or 2 years with the Steelers, but yeah. So we played against. That was kind of crazy. The year or the game that he actually that broke the NCAA record at the time. We had contained them to like that year. I think we contained them to like 165. That was like shutting them down. And the play that put them over the yardage mark. I was in the game and I was on the other side of the field. They ran like I was on the short side defensive end, and I came in for a guy he was winning because they had a long drive going. They ran like a quick toss to the wide side of the field, opposite side of the field, and it was like a 3rd and 3, and he just lowered his shoulder and put in this dude's chest for the yards that he needed, not only for the first down, but to break the record as well. And then they stopped the game. ESPN was there and all this craziness. So.
I mean, was he cold though? Was he that nice? Or was it a little bit of an overhype?
He was just powerful, man. Like he was a real live grown man. Like he played Major League Baseball, and he was real stocky, and he did the one thing he did well was he didn't give you much to hit. You know what I'm saying? So even in trying to tackle him, he's like real stumps, like low to the ground. He's probably maybe 5'11", 6 foot. But he ran real low and had a nice like center, low base. You know what I mean? Not a lot to hit, and it was just hard to bring him down. And his legs were like tree trunks.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, he was 26 though, man. So I don't know about that one.
He was playing for the Houston Astros farm league system and stuff like that, man. So, he was, I mean, from my understanding, he was a really good high school player, though. So, I mean, I give him credit for, putting all those yards together. But, yeah, like, containing him then was 165. So.
That's crazy, man. I remember that, though. He was cold, man. He was cold. So, at this point, man, we made it through college, man. I know that you did some coaching and youth football, and you was walking the high school sidelines as well. So you did some coaching, a lot of coaching. But the great news is you land a gig. You are now the Aliquippa head coach for girls varsity basketball. Coach, tell us what got you to this point.
I came into the basketball game as a coach back in 2003. I was the assistant coach on the freshman team. We had that was probably the best team I ever coached, by the way. We went, I think, 21-0. We had Jonathan Baldwin and Antonio Reddick. Antonio Reddick's like the Connie Hawkins around here. Like, he's in every good basketball league in the Pittsburgh area, but he's a great player. Baldwin was insane, and he actually was in 8th grade playing up, and he was probably the best player on the team, probably getting like 25, 30 points a night. He was dunking the basketball as an 8th grader. Just an incredible physical specimen. But I started that year. That was 2003, I think, 2003, 2004. Ironically, I used to have to, me and the freshman head coach named Maurice Smith at the time, we used to have to do the scouting for Marv, and Emerson was the head basketball coach. And that high school basketball team that we had that year. We won WPL. We was led high school wise by a dude named Darrell Reeves. So
yeah,
we, I've been around since he was still in high school. So and he's already retired and played. He was a great basketball player in his own right as well. I think that last year he was like 23, 24 points a game, six rebounds, 6 assists, something like that. We won WPIL, lost the game before the state championship that year to a pretty good Slow Rock team. We had the DeMichael brothers and Geiger. They had a pretty good Slow Rock team. They were pretty good too. But I started then and was the freshman assistant coach for a couple seasons. Then I was the head coach of the 7th grade team for 2 or 3 years. Then I took a couple years off. Then I came back in 2013 when Nick Lack had took over, was the 7th and 8th grade head coach and an assistant doing the scouting and stuff then as well. We won the state championship varsity-wise in 2016. Got a big ring in the crib for that. Just kind of been grinding, man. Got promoted to freshman head coach. Was running that for a few years, and then this opportunity came, and I took a shot.
Good, man, because the community needs you, brother. Now I need to rewind. I need to go back for a second. So you coach Jonathan Baldwin now from, again, the outside looking in. I used to look at Jonathan Baldwin play basketball, and I felt like he was an even better basketball player than a football player, which is just bizarre and crazy because he went on to be an NFL football player. What was I was I crazy for looking at it like that though?
I kind of agree with that. I kind of don't really say it as much because I feel like the same way. Like, how can he be better in the other sport when he made it pro in that football? But I just think high school wise in football, he just wasn't utilized a lot. At the time, Coach Z ran power run, not real fancy offense. It was real smashed off the grind. He didn't really get a chance to expose his talents football wise. We just, we didn't throw the ball a lot in those days, and so therefore his talent or his skill set wasn't, seen as much. He was really a tight end. Now he blocked his butt off, and he, when he got his opportunities, he would make some plays. But in basketball, with him playing with Pope and Tone Reddick and Brandon Lindsey, they had pretty good teams. You were able to see his hoop game first. He was great in his own right. Initially, when he was in 8th or 9th grade, because I didn't see, the football side come into fruition the way that it did, I thought that he would go Division I, play college basketball. I remember we played a state playoff game against someone at the Palumbo Center. It was a doubleheader. We played, I think the school was called Bishop McCourt or something like that, a team out in District 6. And then after that, Shenley was playing. Shenley had DJ Kennedy, DeJuan Blair, Ian Bryant. They had games in their own right. They played after us against Moon. But we played the 6:30 game, and we win and everything. And Johnson killed it that night. And it was Tom Crean, coach of Marquette at the time, ended up going to Indiana. I think he's at Georgia now. Was at the game, and he was like, "Man, I really want this kid right here. I think he would be good in our system." Now, looking back, Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, Wesley Matthews. There's been some players that came to Marquette, and he was adamant about Johnson. It was pretty crazy, you know what I'm saying? And, introduced himself, gave us as coaches his cards and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, I definitely think Johnson had the talent to play Division I basketball. No doubt about that in my mind.
Yeah, man, he was cold, man. He was just. I looked at him play. I just always thought he was a cold boy in basketball, man. Cold, man.
The he was the biggest Kobe Bryant fan I know to this day. Like, I know, rest in peace, when Kobe passed, he was devastated. I know he was. Because that was his guy. Like, that was his guy. Like, that was like a lot of things in his game. He tried to emulate seeing things like Kobe did. You know what I'm saying? The mid-range pull-up, you know, the turnaround fade, stuff like that. He patterned a lot of his offensive skills off of Kobe.
Yeah, man, he was cold. Another shout out that I want to give though is the Reddick kid. I've never met him. I don't know, but I just remember watching him, man, and he you know what? He kind of reminded me of Latrell Sprewell.
That is a pretty good comparison. I used to say that all the time, especially in those days. He used to have the cornrows too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rangy, athletic. Man. He's got a son that's in 7th grade that's going to be a killer.
Oh, yeah? I bet, man. So, Coach, let me ask you this now. What a lot of people don't know, including myself, Aliquippa girls basketball is somewhat of an unknown. Can you speak to the current culture and what your expectations is and where you want to get that culture?
Well, we haven't been really relevant in girls basketball in a long time. And, you know, that's the challenge. That's what intrigued me to the challenge when the job opened back up. I want to take it back to us being a relevant team in, you know, in high school basketball. Like, I remember in the late 80s when I was a young pup, and, you know, Aliquippa girls games were just as exciting and just as packed as the boys were. In 1987 through 90, that was 4 years in a row. We won, our girls team won WCIL each year and won 2 state championships in 89 and 90. So, you know, and it's just, I mean, I can't remember if I was talking with you before, but we had said, like, it's the same names, it's the same people. You know, some of the, you know, the players of the past, now it's their daughters or their nieces or little sisters or whatever. And, you know, I see potential in these girls, and I want to take that and mold it and turn it into something productive here. I think that we have what it takes to be a really good team for the area. You know what I mean? We're playing 2A girls, and you know we got our work cut off for us. But my goal is to take this thing and turn it in the right direction, and make sure that this program is respected again. It's been a long time since we've had, you know, consecutive, you know, winning seasons, continuing to build, continuing to like grind. Like, I just want all these other teams around here, when they come to Aliquippa, to know they're in for a dog fight. Mm-hmm. You might get us, but you don't know you played us too.
No doubt. No doubt. So, from what I understand, though, that you guys already got started. You got a W the other day. Is that correct?
Yeah, my middle school girls team. My middle school girls are playing now, like around here in the consider the MAP area, Beaver County area. The 7th and 8th grade girls play during the football season or during these fall months. Mm-hmm. So I've been working because the girl that I am going to hire to be the 7th and 8th grade coach going forward. Just the way her schedule was set up for her job, she really couldn't devote all of her time to it. But next year she'll kind of take it over, and I'll oversee her, what she's doing, and kind of provide that. But yeah, we're building a little bit there. Like, we've won 2 in a row in 7th and 8th grade. From my understanding, they only won 1 last year. So, you know, we doubled up.
Already.
Got a few more games. I talked to some people. They're going to have a 7th and 8th grade winter league, so they'll do that in the new year. That's supposed to start sometime in January. Mm-hmm. They'll play that, and then while I'll be doing varsity, my 7th and 8th grade coach will be running that. We're just trying to get this thing, you know, pumping in the right direction. I got to meet with some people about the Bantam League. I'm trying to get a youth basketball league for girls, trying to put them in a local league. And because, you know, girls, I mean, the girls want to play, so, hey, let's start something. Let's develop a feeder system, and let's Let's build it from the ground up. Let's put a foundation in and get this thing going in the right direction. Like I said before, when I was a little kid, I want to see Mona Gaffney, Carrie Bowerdis, and Michelle Smith and Michelle Witt. They were all great players, and they, like I said, they were just as entertaining as the boys' games back then. So,
well, man, the program is in good hands, and you know you got the full support of the community. You got the full support of Everybody Hates Poke. You got the full support, man. We look forward to it. We're gonna be following, man, and good luck to you with it, Coach. Good luck, man.
I appreciate that, family. We definitely working. I got a good staff with me. I got some girls with some potential. I think we can do something, but you know, we got to do it together. We gotta work harder than everybody else. When everybody's sleeping, we still got to be working, man. We trying to just put a hard hat on and go to work here in Aliquippa and turn this thing around.
No doubt, man. I love to see it, man. I love to see it. Now, Coach, I did say that I don't want to debate with you. Not today. All right? Not today, but we're going to get it cracking, though.
We're going to get it enough.
All right. But I do, hey, it's the start of the finals. All right? My Kentucky boys, Bam and Hero, against LA. All right? Who you got? Who you got, Coach?
I'm thinking Lakers in 6. But I'll tell you what, that doggone Bam, man, he is way better now than I thought he was going to be.
I agree.
I did not see all-star player when he was coming out. I did see a really good pro, but I didn't see all-star, and he's only, in his 3rd season?
Yep.
This dude is going to be a 20-10 stud for years. And truthfully, he's still really raw offensively. Wait till some of that offense gets fine too. He's gonna be a low. He'll be the best low post player in the East for years. Right behind Giannis.
I agree. He did some stuff the other night, and I'm like, whoa, what's that? Like, I mean, he came down the court, gave somebody a hezzy, boom, in and out.
Yeah. I did not see that in his game when he was coming out for the draft, or even in the first couple of years of the league. Like, you can tell the dude put the work in for sure.
Yeah. I'm like, where did that come from? I didn't even know that he could. I didn't know he could do that. So, yeah. But you know, Lakers in 6. I mean, Braun definitely had the easy way out in this bubble. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm gonna attach an asterisk beside it. But you know what? I'm not throwing in the towel. My Kentucky boys is gonna get it. I'm calling Heat in 7.
Well, I tell you what, the key to this to me is going to be how Anthony Davis plays. Like, to me, I think we can go into the games and pretty much chalk up LeBron's 25, 7 to 10 assists, 7 to 10 rebounds. But he's going to need Anthony Davis to be as good as he's been the entire playoffs. And now, don't get me wrong, we all know AD can flat out ball with the best of them. But the way Bam's been playing, I know Bam's not going to back down. The one thing that Miami has in its advantage is the guys that they can throw at LeBron and at AD, they don't need to help. You know what I mean? Like Denver had to do some things to kind of slow LeBron down from building to get to the cup.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Denver just didn't have a good matchup for LeBron, and they really didn't have much for Anthony Davis either. Like, playing them, like what Miami has to play them with, Bam, and even when they're bringing in their guys off the bench, the guy with the throw and the big beard, his name escapes me, but he'll be physical with Davis.
Butler?
Center. No, not. He's a reserve big. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh.
But they were clowning with like Tom Hanks and Castaway.
I don't know who that is.
He plays very briefly, but he just comes in and jumps it up a little bit. Like, that type of stuff. Like, just the fact that they don't necessarily have to double AD, it's kind of intriguing to me. And, you know, Eric Spoelstra, a lot of people don't give him credit because when he won his rings, Cap Braun. but he consistently has Miami prepared to play. I mean, after people play the entire Eastern Conference playoffs, it's been pretty impressive. But even the guys on the wing, like Crowder, Iguodala, Jimmy, like those guys can kind of guard LeBron without necessarily needing help. So at that, I'm wondering if they can do it like that. Will those LA role players get those shots that they've been getting in the other rounds because the other teams have had to double because they had no answer from LeBron or AD. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that Miami is probably the toughest matchup out of those Eastern teams because they kind of have depth on the wing and in the interior to guard, LA's big gun. And will those other role players for LA step up? Like, 1 and 2, Butler and Bam is not better than AD and LeBron, but Dragic and Crowder and Iguodala and Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, they are probably, from a depth standpoint, better than what the Lakers have coming off the bench. Even the Rondo can play out of the line.
Yeah, you be hating on Rondo too.
Nah, he's been balling though, and I can't knock him. Like, truthfully, he wins this ring. I think I got him in the Hall of Fame. He wins the ring here.
Whoa! Oh, wow! Well, okay, all right. Hey, you surprised me with that one.
I mean, if you that second ring and him being a factor to it, like that would give him the nudge to get in there. Like, it would be close. And if he didn't get in, I wouldn't be surprised. But if he got in, I wouldn't be surprised either. I think a second ring and him being a focal point in it, like if he continues to play the way he's been playing since he came back from the injury, got to kind of get his dude his props, man. Like, I just think his time with the Celtics in 2008 and his value was overrated. And I actually think his time now with LA, is underrated. Like, I don't think people understand how valuable he has been to them, being that Avery Bradley had left and it didn't come to the bubble, and guys like J.R. Smith and Deion Waiters just didn't pan out. If Rondo isn't playing as well as he's been playing, I don't know if it's as easy as they made it look. He's kind of saved them, you know what I mean? Like, because Kuzma has been up and down. He's not totally 100% consistent.
He's very inconsistent. Very inconsistent.
That's like, truthfully, when you and Jay go back and forth about Melo being in LA, I wouldn't, like, to me, Melo should be, if anything, in Kuzma's role, not Jared Dudley. He's just along for the ride.
Okay, we're going to make sure. You know what? I'm going to put that snippet out there because they need to definitely hear that. That's all I've been saying. If you have Melo instead of Kuzma, just like in that role, Melo's going to show up for 15 to 17 points a night.
I think he serves a better purpose. Him being as an 8th, 9th man, Melo's too good for that. Like, if I was him, I'd rather be doing what he did in Portland than to be somebody just trying to ring chase. Like, because truthfully, if he was to do that and win a ring, it's not really going to change his legacy as much. Like, people won't admit it, but there's a lot of people who got a newfound respect for Melo because of what he was able to do, after being on for a year, kind of being black basketball, you know what I mean? Like, people look at him different now because, all the, as I say, the media portrayals of him is totally different from what people have been saying about him, especially the dudes in Portland. Like, I think I remember sharing that article where all of those young dudes were like, yo, he's nothing like how people portrayed him. Like, he comes to practice early, he works, he goes to eat with the guys, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't, he's a Hall of Famer and he doesn't, treat himself or acts as if he's better than people. That's kind of what I was getting out of an article I read. Like, he talks to the young boys, he doesn't distance himself. He's like one of the guys. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are surprised by that. Even the coaches as well, just saying how much of a pleasure he was there. So Yeah, I still got the Lakers in 6, but Miami can make it more interesting than what it is, than what people think it'll be. Like, I don't know if it's going to be clean in 5 or 4. I would be surprised because I think that Miami has some things that can throw a wrench into what LA wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those role players have to be big if they want to win, 4 and 5 games. I see a couple of those games where those role players are going to stink it up because Miami will make the guys have to make plays. You know what I mean? Like, Sylvester does a good job of that. Like, if you rewind back mentally to the Buck series, once they kind of put those walls up on Giannis and made him pass the ball and probably what he would like to,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those guys are bucket.
Yeah, you're right. Miami has. You're right. You're right about that.
I can kind of see them kind of doing the same thing with LeBron and AD, just kind of walling it off and saying, "All right, Danny Green, I dare you to hit 7 or 8 threes in a game.
Right.
You know what I mean? I dare you, 6 for 10 from distance. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are going to have to beat us. We know what LeBron and Davis can do. You know what I mean?
So Heat and 7. Come on, get on board with me. Heat and 7.
I can't see it today, but I'll tell you what, this first game will tell you a lot.
Yeah, we're going to find out something tonight. The Heat cannot come out and get blown out. Even if they lose, this better be a good game.
Oh, for sure. Like, the entire series will be good. Like, nobody's getting blown out in any of these games.
Yeah, well, they bet not be. See, the Lakers, Bron's been here 10 times. You know what I mean? AD is a big-time player. He, Rondo's been in the finals. So they're a veteran team, I should say, But that Heat...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't got some guys they can lean on for experience. Like, a lot of people will, forget, this is 6 in a row for Iggy going to the finals. You know what I mean? He went to 5 straight Golden State. Jimmy hasn't been there to that level, but he's big time to me. I think he, there was some baggage with him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's a jerk. He's people, this, that, and the third. It looks like he found his safe haven here in Miami. With a blue collar, mentality. Like, dudes go in and work hard. Look at him, man. I think if anything about both these teams that I kind of noticed was leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jimmy don't got no family there. He's like, yo, this ain't no vacation. I'm here to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And LeBron hasn't had his family down there. You know what I mean? Like, it's go time. And that speaks to even the front office stuff. Like, man, everybody calls Pat Riley the Godfather. It ain't by accident.
Mm-hmm. And Spoelstra is on his way to being a great Hall of Fame coach, man. Got to give props to Spoelstra. He's on his way to being a great Hall of Fame coach.
Go to the finals. I don't care if you got whoever on your team. You go to the finals 5 times as a head coach, you're a made man. I don't care.
Yeah, got to give him props. Hey, Coach, we could go at this for a long, long time, man, because we two sports junkies, man. But I want to thank you, brother, for coming through, man, and just giving the platform an opportunity to get an interview with you, man. And I want to invite you back, man. I need you back, man. And I'm looking to grow the channel, man. So come back. We'll get forums together, and we're going to debate, man. But most importantly, man, good luck with the head coaching job, man. We're very proud of you, man.
I appreciate that. And just sent me a text there, come get me. So we timed this up pretty good.
My man. Well, again, thanks for coming through, man. I'll be in touch, man. Good luck with everything, brother.
Thanks, man. I'll see you around.
All right, bro. Peace. Hey, y'all, again, man, give it up, man. Give it up. Props, man. That's Coach Bo Lindsey from Aliquippa. If you made it this far, man, please like, share, and subscribe. help grow the channel. But one thing I want to say, man, is this is why I want to do these interviews with these athletes, with these guys that's going through these guys and these women that's out in the community, boots on the ground, making a difference, man, in kids' life. It's very important that they get noticed, man, and they get recognized and get shown love, man. Give these people their flowers right now because they deserve it. But as far as a city like Aliquippa, man, you really need to hear these stories from these players, man, that you might not know about because they're surrounded with so much talent. But these is dudes that if they played on any other football team, they would have been the superstar of the team, man. So I like to hear these stories, man, especially from Quip, man. That's a school, a community, a team that's got so much tradition, man. All they do is win, man. So salute to Aliquippa, man. Shout out to everybody. Heat in 7. Check out the NBA Finals. Heat in 7. All right, man. Come on, man. Somebody got to help me out, man. One of my Kentucky boys got to save me, all right? Again, man, like, share, and subscribe. You watch the video, man, go ahead and share it on your social media page. And that is a wrap. Heat in 7, y'all.
Everybody hates talking all facts, keep your ego. If you got receipts, brother, bring them to the show. When it come down to it, who to go? All you LeBron James,